everyone here this evening, and we will go ahead and start the meeting. Would you please take roll?
Ms. Atkins?
Here.
Mr. Hendricks?
Here.
Mrs. McDaniel? Mrs. Peterson? Mr. Stoffer? Mr. Weilich?
Here.
Mrs. Sheffel?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the May 2nd, 2022 agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to point out that what was published, there's an added 7.04 on the agenda. The board was notified of that Friday night, and it was sent to the non-Parel and published on Saturday. So in time, but just that slight difference. We'll have a 7.04 employee request for other paid or unpaid leave.
All right. Vote, please.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffel?
Yes, commendation and good news.
I'm going to let Josh read through a few things in Dave's absence, and I'll probably follow with some commentary.
A couple things, we got notified today, I think, or just recently, that US News does a best high schools in the nation type thing, or best schools in the nation, and Lewis Central High School is recognized as one of the, with that distinction. So that is, there is a link there in the email that I think Dr. Knost had gotten. So another great recognition for them this year. We've talked about Amara Orth a couple times. We had mentioned that she had done the Regeneron science contest, which she placed, I think, in the top 10, if I remember correctly. And then last week, the State Science and Technology Fair of Iowa, their executive director came, and if you think about winning a championship for sports, you hang a banner up in the gym. Well, they gave Amara a banner celebrating her participation in the International Science and Engineering Fair, which is this week or next. A couple other things, if you hadn't heard, Caleb Shudak and Jakai Baker, both LC alum, signed with NFL teams over the weekend, which was kind of cool. And then Carter Wells, who is also an LC alum that works for Iowa football, got to create the video post highlighting Caleb Shudak going to the NFL. So kind of a little full circle moment there. The Hawkeye 10 art results are linked there. Mrs. Lewis from the high school shared those. And then I think, DK, you're talking about School Board Recognition Month?
Yes, I think myself and Ms. Reyes, did you bring along?
Their certificates are in my office, so
Okay.
I'll grab them after the meeting to
Well,
give to you.
before I touch on school board recognition, I did want to just extend my congratulations to the high school. I kind of expected this because it usually follows being named a blue ribbon school. That's not that it's criteria or anything of the sort. It just gets you on the map, and so really cool. I think it was in the state of Iowa. It was maybe ranked 61 or something like that. 53rd. You know, 61, 53, give or take a few, and that's pretty impressive, even if it doesn't sound all that impressive. And then in the nation, I think it was in the 6,000s or something like that. But again, that's being recognized in a huge pool. So it doesn't come without hard work, doesn't come without great teaching and learning, doesn't come without good leadership at the building level. So congratulations to Dr. Beinhoff and all of the hardworking teachers and staff that make Lewis Central High School so wonderful. And yes, it is Board Recognition Week, so we are short a few tonight due to various complications in scheduling, but we definitely want to thank our board members because we know that we don't pay enough to do these jobs.
The
A lot of
pay is
people,
zero.
it's amazing. Every time there's a board election, we usually get at least one phone call where somebody will ask, what does it pay? We have to break the news to them that nothing at all. It's just you give, and give. But we have a great board. You really don't have a good school district without a high-functioning Board of Education, and we have that. We are well represented. Our teachers are well represented. Our programs are well represented, and it's nice as a superintendent to always work for a board that's so connected and truly, in this case, does bleed Titan blue. So thank you all.
Absolutely.
You are more than appreciated, and appreciated by people who don't even realize they appreciate you because they aren't connected to these meetings and all the work on the side. But we do have some certificates for you that we'll give you after the board meeting tonight.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Commendation and good news? All right, we'll go on to comments and suggestions. This is the first time during our agenda that anyone in our audience or anyone who is listening online can address the board. And we don't have anyone online or in the audience standing up, so we will go on to our next item on the agenda, the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Do we have an updated personnel sheet?
Yes.
We just keep hiring.
That's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Is there any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Report 6.01 LC Plastics Club.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to Nathan and let him do all the introductions, but I know the board hears a lot about our Plastics Club through various ways, either in my updates or just word of mouth. It's a pretty exciting thing, and it's even attracting, I can honestly say, it's attracting people who want to work here. We found that out in one of our employees we hired that was extremely excited to come be part of, be one of your colleagues and be part of the program. So that was really exciting. So I thought instead of always sharing this with you and, well, I'll let you share the news about the latest, your latest grant as well. Yeah, so come on up and have a seat. Nathan and Dustin, or who are you bringing up? You do the introductions.
Okay. Yeah,
Or pull
my
a
name's-
chair up or stand, it's okay, we're good.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them here, so. My name is Nathan Manzini. I'm an 8th grade science teacher at the middle school. This is Dustin Kerner. He's project lead the way. 7th grade, 8th grade, project lead the way. This is Caleb Greenwood. He's a 7th grader. Luella Farrencrew and Iris Farrencrew, 8th grader and 6th grader. So this is kind of a representative of Titan Plastics. But yeah, I'll go and just kind of move on. So that's us at Logier on one of our tour days. But so before I get like too carried away, I just kind of want to explain what is the problem with recycling to begin with, then you kind of explain, then our program makes a little more sense. So most people think you put a plastic bottle or a cup or whatever in the recycling bin, get shredded up, and then it gets, recycling center, they make more bottles or other products, and it goes, but that's really not how it works. Really, what our infrastructure is designed as in the United States is to bale and ship it. We really aren't designed to take plastic and make pellets out of it, and that's what those other companies need to actually make products. So in the United States, we bale it and ship it, typically to countries with low environmental regulations. So if they can't make those pellets, they can either burn it or dump it in the ocean. And there's no, it's not bad on our part because we gave it to them. They said they're going to take care of it, and that's what they did. And they also have lower, safety and humanitarian regulations. And whenever they do turn them into pellets, they are often downcycling into things that aren't recyclable. So carpet, polyester shirts, things like that. So in the best case scenario, we ship stuff all the way across the world. They maybe don't dump it, maybe don't burn it, and maybe they get it turned into something that gives it one more life. So we wanted to change that.
So yeah, we're trying to merge both plastic recycling and manufacturing together. Trying to skip all of the other steps and put it all right here at the school. We'd love to get other schools doing it too, but we're trying to educate the students on the manufacturing side of things, but also how to maybe design things a little bit better in the first place so that they don't get trashed. We branded things where we recycle, like a Pringles can has the outside layer is one side of plastic, the inside layer is another side of plastic, and we can't shred that up and it's not separable. So trying to make sure that they understand that so when they go out into the workforce they can make better choices when they're designing products and things like that.
I'm
Okay, good, now go, sorry.
So we started off, this is a group, I think those are mostly sophomores now. And they started out with us a couple years ago with just a couple machines. Those I think Mr. Manzani had built at his old school that he drug along with him. And we were able to make enough stuff with those machines to buy new machines, and we kept upgrading to new things. Eventually we realized we were going to need much more plastic, much better machines to do our stuff. We couldn't get anybody to make our molds that some of these guys design. We'll have them talk about that here in a second. So we decided we would start going to some different places to get more education about how it's done in the real world. Taylor Plastics was one of the first places. He was more of a local guy that lives in our district, but had a place in town for a while, and then he worked out of his home. We've been to a lot of other places. The ones on the right underneath the picture are the ones that we took the kids to about a week, 2 weeks ago. First Star Fiber is a recycling place. They're actually looking at developing plastics into boards locally. They have an orange bag program.
Yeah, the Hefty bag program.
Yeah. So we don't have that here yet, but they're trying to work with Council Bluffs to do that. And Majors Plastics was a great one. Most of the kids loved that one because they handed out freebies to all the kids. Even though there are things that they would never use, they loved it. And then Logier, we stopped there. They've been helping us out quite a bit. There's one gentleman there that has been very helpful for us, and so we took the kids to Logier and I got to see that too. So.
Yeah, and I'll point out, we kind of went to all these places, for the most part, with the exception of like maybe one, we did this on our own time. So we just went outside of school, we toured all these manufacturing places and learned what they're doing, then we came back.
He's been to a couple more, but the one we found out that actually is making pellets in the United States, and there's about 4 places now. When we were doing all of our tours, I can't remember who pointed us in the direction of St. Joe Plastics, but they're actually taking post-industrial plastics and turning it back into pellets here in the United States. And they said there's only about 4 places in the nation right now that are doing that. So
we drove 2 hours to go see it.
yeah. But it was really cool. There's a lot of cool
Yeah,
stuff.
so after we did all those tours, this is the data that they ended up getting. We got most of the students to respond, but did this day help you understand the manufacturing industry? You can see that it was a, well, yes. Did these tours help you better understand some of the jobs available in manufacturing? Again, yes, and yes slightly. None of them said no. And then these are just some of the highlights that some of the students said if they were to pick a job in one of these industries, which one would they do? So yeah, but anyway. These are the grants that we've gotten.
The grants that we've applied for and received, the first 3 were early on, or at least after our first year. The first grant went to mostly buying, you'll see a picture of it later on, but our CNC machine. Like I said, we couldn't get people to make our molds for us. And these guys kind of understand a little bit better when you go to a plastics manufacturing, what a mold looks like compared to what we use. I think some people were imagining that. We couldn't get anybody to do it. Nobody wanted to do it. And so that's when we bought the CNC mill. So they've been able to design a lot of things. Our DNR grant went towards building a new shredder. Part of that, or all that went to that, plus more. We've started saving up. We've built some more machines, but we started saving up for the remodeling of a room in the middle school. So a lot of that money is sitting on the side right now, waiting for the room to be, waiting for it to be needed, I guess.
Yeah, and the very last one, that's the most recent one, we were just awarded $50,000 from the Logier Foundation. So yeah, that was awesome. And the students were a big part of all that.
Yeah, they actually said that in their report back to us, that they came and visited and toured and asked these guys lots of questions. They didn't really talk to us very much. They talked to the kids, and they said they were a huge part in us getting the grant. They did a great job. Not just these 3, but all of them. Is that one mine too?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So some of the things that we have, the stations we have are pre-processing, sorting, cleaning, and shredding the plastic. We don't get it in very clean. That's one of our problems. So we have a station to clean it up. Production, these guys do some production, but usually they are more on the design side and the electrical, wiring up our machines and getting them to work.
Yeah, so I just want to point out, all that stuff I told you with the plastic manufacturing industry, we crammed inside a corner of one classroom. So we're able to literally make, we can show you the stuff we've made, but we can take post-consumer plastic, cloth bags, bottle caps, things like that, and make virtually anything out of it. But
And then some of our skills, that's what these guys are. Do you want to talk about the first two? That's what you do, right? Well, both of you do, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know, you can grab some of your stuff.
That one's.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So basically, so we kind of just make the molds, but it's not just like, when you look at this, which I should keep on the time, but it looks like, it's a coaster, but it looks like the like sides are going straight down, but, which is originally what I thought too. But it's like, there's a lot of thought going to it, and instead of it being like a 90-degree angle down, it's 91 just so we can.
So that there's a taper angle on it so that it will pop out of the mold a little bit easier. And that's one thing that they've talked about. Also, when you do something like this, what do you got to do with that thing?
Well, you do have to put in air vents for each of the things so that it doesn't.
The air vents, but also, so the other half of it, Luella, what do you have to do for that though?
Oh, you have to flip the design so that it actually goes on and makes some structure.
So we have to mirror the other side so it'll actually go on. We've had some learning curves, but some of our first molds were the same either direction, so it didn't matter. And then when we did the first one of these, we milled them both out and put them together like, oh, that's not going to work. So there's a lot of learning to it. But these guys have been two of our main people working on the manufacturing and the drafting part of it. And then we have
Yeah, so for Kit, I'll preface it with this. I've taken a couple classes at Metropolitan Community College on the electrical stuff, again, just on the side. And then to help wire these machines, but I haven't wired any of the machines anymore. I teach the students how to do it, and then, so that's Caleb's job. So you kind of want to explain what you do.
Oh, this is one of our trainers that I completed, and it's consisted of, well, this is what makes our injection machines, and so it's,
Yeah, you can just, you don't have to explain all the details, but so you practice on the trainers, and what else have you done?
well, the other day I was working on fixing our shredder, and Vincent had the idea that it was something with like a relay, but I diagnosed it as being with one of the buttons, and it turned out that I was correct.
Yeah, so he was right on.
Mr. V is a very smart guy, but it was pretty impressive that he diagnosed it and got it right. And Mr. V was not quite.
Yeah, and then he fixed our injection machine too, so fixing stuff's a lot harder than actually wiring it up. But Caleb was able to fix all of our stuff, and then next week we're gonna have our injection machine ready for him to wire. Him and a 6th grade girl are kind of our electricians now. We have an 8th grader as well that's done all of our stuff, but he's kind of getting caught up with a lot of high school classes already. But he wired up all the latching and jogging circuits on all of our on a shredder, and then Caleb's had to kind of fix it because the shredder shakes so much that sometimes there's a wire that comes loose, and he figured out how to fix that. So, but yeah, we're about done here. Just to be respectful of your time, but
You're fine.
yeah,
Oh, you can take as long as-
We're on
this is
way.
so-
Sorry.
I'm so
Yeah.
impressed right now with these 3 kids and both of you, but I have to pick my jaw up off the floor when he's talking about you, I mean,
And then I bet you if you took a wire off, you'd be able to fix it right away.
Yeah, just start messing with it. Actually, I've done that a couple times for the 8th grades kid. I take wires off every now and then just to see what he always gets it fixed. But we have been invited to present in a few places. The one on the left is at the state fair last year, and we've been invited back there, I think, this year too. And then we went to the state capitol building, and Lulu got to speak in front of everybody at the state capitol. She was the only student that got to speak at that and present there. We had the governor go and a couple senators and then Lulu, so it was great. She did a wonderful job there. So, and then we just yesterday we were at what was that, Green Bellevue? We presented.
Yeah, we presented.
That was
Bellevue
just us that went to that yesterday.
Yeah.
We've been going to a few places. So.
And then we went to Future Ready Iowa. Yeah, so we've. I'll preface it by saying this is kind of the model STEM program that a lot of people in Iowa are looking up to right now. So, but Yeah, our goals here, we just want to expand. We want to process more plastic. We want to involve more students. Right now, we have about 14 to 15 students. We have that many jobs available right now. We want to scale it up. We want to scale it up in a way in a new room where we can have an entire class for this, so we can do it during the school day and not just after school twice a week. But we can have 6th graders that can learn how to do the CADing. Like these two are doing, 7th graders can learn how to run all the machines, and 8th graders are going to be learning how what Caleb's doing right now. And then by the end, they'll have we'll still have the after-school aspect, but by the end, they'll understand all the aspects of plastic manufacturing or manufacturing in general. So they kind of have a better idea of the workforce. But and then, yeah, we want to connect with more schools and connect with more community partners. So whether that's collecting the plastic or just to learn from it. But yeah, that's our goals. And that's Iris running the global new machine at Highland Warren. So, but yeah, I don't know. If you guys have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. We brought a couple things to just show you, but this is a flower pot we recently made. These are bowls made out of plastic grocery sacks. And then we got some coasters. There's an LC coaster they made out of, I think,
That might have been keyboards.
Yeah, that might have been keyboards.
And then most of our stuff has been out of plastic bags and bottle caps. But if we get a large amount of any kind of plastic, we can work with it. Although the keyboards, we've done very little with it in my room, just because there is more of a smell with that type of plastic than there is with number 2, number 5, or what's the right term for that? Hydro.
The polyethylene?
No, yeah.
Oh, the hydrocarbons. Yeah.
Hydrocarbons, yeah.
But yeah, this is a mold that Iris made. Yeah, it was Iris, right? They makes 4 hearts at a time. And then there's some other coasters. This is a keychain that Luella made, so they're designed, and then some other students made it. But yeah, I guess if you guys have any other questions, we'd be happy to answer it. Otherwise, we can let you.
What's in the jar?
The jar. Oh, this is, so when we went to First Star 5, or not for, St. Joe Plastic, these are the pellets that they make. And then these are the ones that we have to deal with. But we can actually shred up a little bit finer than this. But yeah, this is the plastic that we make. We actually learned how to take plastic bags and make all these hot shredding and sorting equipment. We're able to fuse them together, we figure out how to do this, and then we shred up this whole thing. And then that was the huge kind of breakthrough we made. And then we can shred it up and we can use it in our bowls, flower pots, and we can injection mold and make those coasters. But yeah, and then this is like professional quality. You're not here yet, but this works.
So
We'd love to get there.
your your method of creating pellets is, even though it's not refined, as you said, but it's innovative. I mean, it's your method. It's not, you didn't.
We are definitely the only middle school anywhere that we know that's doing this. There are some businesses and like trying to do this in different places in the country. We also, as far as we know, we're the only ones that are doing this with plastic bags. Most places will deal with the bottle caps and things, but there are a few places that are taking the plastic bags and turning them into benches, but not into anything else that we know of. So.
I know that I used to be involved with the Rotary Club, who did a lot of collecting of the caps, of the plastic caps. Is that a different kind of recycling on the caps than it is the bottles because of?
Well, the bottles are made out of a different plastic. They're number 1. If you turn over and look in the little, and we haven't dealt with number 1 mostly because the melting temperature and the burning temperature are so close that there's not enough range there, where the melting and burning temperatures of these are a much greater range. So we know we can set that at the lower end and not burn things, because when you start burning it, it definitely puts off the fumes.
Yeah, so like with the bottle itself's number 1, the label's number 5, the cap's number 2. So for you to recycle a bottle, I have to take the label off, clean the glue off, take the cap off, make sure there's no silicone on it, and then take the little ring off. So it's kind of annoying. So we just like to just say we'll take the caps. And then if that little ring part, but yeah, and that's one thing where they're kind of learning is not to mix types of plastic on one product. If you can use it all on one product and throw it all in the shredder, that's why people like milk jugs, because the jug and the cap's the same plastic, so you can shred the whole thing. But bottles, they have to separate everything. But
I feel like, when the first time I visited with you, Mr. Van Zandt, and you told me about this, I feel like you were telling me like the flower pot, is that mainly bags, grocery bags making that?
It's probably about 90% bags, and we figured out it's about so if we don't, the color comes from the bottle caps, because
Okay,
there's
so
not a lot of
they're-
color in bags.
Yeah, but this one's bags.
That's mostly bags,
Yeah,
and
so-
some of them you can actually see some of the writing from the bags in them.
Like the Target.
But yeah, we figured if you go full bags with this, it's about, what did we say, 140, 150 bags.
That's
Make
a lot.
one flower pot, yeah.
But bags are in abundance.
You can, yeah, bring them to the middle school,
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Have
Drop them
you,
off at Miss Reynolds' office.
In her office.
Where do you get your plastics from?
Just, we have asked the kids, the parents to bring stuff in, and that's where we get it all right now. We've talked about, if we start to grow, as some other schools that we're bringing in, I know that she has a relative that brings it in every now and then. So, actually, I got an email not too long ago that said, I don't remember the name of the lady, but she said, I'll be visiting soon and I'll pack my suitcase full of plastic to bring to you. So I'd have to look up to see where she was coming from. She must have been an LC alum or somehow knew about the program. But we're also looking at possibly getting some plastics from like AccuMold, or not AccuMold, Majors Plastics said that they have some stuff that they could just give us. Possibly buying some from St. Joe Plastics, since they all are recycled plastics too. We want to keep it at recycled, not using anything new.
And I don't know, when we first started, we were making these, so we made these for the art department because they didn't have any paint trays. And we also made, during COVID, we couldn't get a hold of face shields, so we made a bunch of face shields for the school district. You guys bought some through us, and then we also gave a bunch to the, I think about 40 of them to the local hospital that couldn't, in Red Oak, yeah, that couldn't get any. So we donated about 40 to them and sold 60 to you guys and use that money to buy another machine. So, thanks.
have you reached out district-wide for parents to bring plastics in?
I think
like
I've
crab-
put in one, not recently, but I did put in one thing with the peach jar.
And I will say right now, like, it is nice just to get one, so that's why I say bags, because they're all the same plastic. When you just say bring in all your plastic, you get 50 different types, you have to sort out. But right now, we only have a couple machines, so we're only able to process the plastic so quick. Since the flower pot mold though, we're getting it going a lot quicker, and if we scale this up into what we want it to be next year, we're gonna start really needing some plastic and quicker ways of recycling it and cleaning it. So that's kind of our limiting factor now. So I'm kind of like working with the DNR and seeing if they have some more effective ways of cleaning plastic, because that's kind of that's what I like bags too, is because you use them once and stuff them in your sink and they're clean. Opposed to some other like shampoo bottles, you have to clean all that out and stuff. We still like the plastic, but it's just not, I don't say it's not worth it, but.
We like the color, because color's fun. Everything white and yellow and gray is boring.
So you talk with Hy-Vee recycles and pulls all their plastics back in barrels within the stores, and they ship those back out. I don't know if there's much market for it, but that might be an opportunity to pick up.
And that's kind of where we're at is, once we get the room done, or when we have the room done, we need to talk to more people like that. We're afraid to do that at this point because we don't want to get too much. We already have several places in the building that we've started storing plastic that I'm not sure everybody's aware of. And so we're trying to make sure we get all of it out before we get more in. But yes, if we're processing more, we'd love to partner with different places like that.
And we have talked to the recycling center here in Council Bluffs, and they're willing to give us plastic and sell us some as well. They do throw away a ton of plastic bags every week, they said.
They bail it up just so that it doesn't blow around in the landfills, but then they take a whole bale of 1,200 pounds and put it in the landfill every week. And I said we could have that.
But we can't go do that.
Yeah. So
Are you selling your products yet?
we are. We went to April 23rd. We went to Earth Day over at
It is a park.
one of the parks, Elmwood Park. And then on May 21st, we have an event where we're doing the junk restored, the junk stock thing at right there by the Habitat Restore.
Yeah, we did that last year as well. So we sold out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do some custom orders too. And we had one order placed there. And one of the other teachers, Mr. Moen, does this a lot with us too. When he's not busy with track and some of his other things, he is another teacher that helps supervise it. He's even said that he's willing to come back and help supervise and do some things next year after he retires. So
I was just thinking like local craft like
Yeah,
North Central
craft
Craft
fair,
Fair
yeah.
would be,
Yeah, we do pretty well at a lot of those, just because, look at these guys, who doesn't want to buy anything from them?
I think that's, it's really twofold. I mean, obviously, the products are cool.
And it's something.
Something to take ownership of, but it's more so what it's teaching.
oh, yeah.
I mean, not only from the recycling piece of thing and the environmental piece of it, but it's engineering, it's manufacturing, it's all those kind of things that,
Sales and advertising too.
yeah, all wrapped up in a lot of things, presentations. I mean, there's so much that it teaches. The other thing that I wanted you to comment on for the board, our policies, obviously,
We go after grants, if there, especially if there's any kind of a matching portion that's required, we're supposed to get board approval first. I have discretion on that because not all have matching components, but almost all of these grants have had in-kind, I don't want to say sweat equity, but all of these hours that you have given in with the whole group in the in the specifications which help you get the grant, that is all above and beyond what you're doing in the school day and what you're doing in the club. It's going out and offering hours to other folks, right?
Yeah, so that Iowa STEM Best grant, that's the one that really kick-started this. That had a $25,000 matching with it, but it did not have to be financial matching. They said we can use our hours, so we had to find out how much we were worth per hour. I'm a newer teacher, so I wasn't much, but luckily we had Mr. Moore. They're all closer to retirement. But if you put us three together, and it essentially said whatever you're worth per hour, if you can make that towards your matching, as long as it's like essentially outside of school hours. Well, we were at $32,000 by what?
About 2/3 of the
And we had until like June to get it, and we were way over, and so we started adding, we added other hours from other people too, then we just realized like, we're blowing through this thing like crazy, and everything we sold also could go towards that as long as we spent it, so we're figuring out ways of kind of maneuvering around that. The Iowa DNR, we were pretty clever with that too, so we sold some products. That was a 25% matching grant. We're probably going to apply again this year, but essentially you could borrow up to $10,000, but you had to have a 25% match. So what we did is we used all of our money that we had and put that towards our 25% match. So we had that money in pocket, and we're able to do that. So we ended up getting up to $7,500, and then we used that for the cleaning station, and we used our $1,700 towards that to get essentially a $10,000 hydraulic shredder that we're able to end up working with 3 different companies to be able to get that built at a relatively low cost. And then we had an 8th grader wire the whole thing up. So we ended up saving quite a bit of money through that. An enhancement grant, the reason why we could get that is because we got that first STEM grant. And they never once said this, I did ask them, but the HD grant, that stands for high demand, and that was the manufacturing, nursing, or computer sciences. If you are doing something along those lines, they'll give you up to $40,000 for the $20,000 match. So we had to come with $20,000, but luckily Logier gave us $50,000, so we're good there.
We're good on that.
And we could do the same thing with that too. But with this HD grant, part of me feels like they made it because they liked our program and they wanted to make another one of them. So before they announced that, they were moving us around, like showing us around the state, showing off our program. And then after they did all that, then they announced the HD grant. So after they saw what we were doing, so that was a $40,000 grant that we were just awarded this past year. And then just last week, 2 weeks ago, we just got word that we got this Logier Foundation. So now that one has no matching anything, and neither did the Google. So Google is just a $20,000 check essentially that is ready to be used for our machines. So, yeah, and we are able to save quite a bit of money by building the machines. Like a 1 injection machine, we just got a quote just because I was curious. It's $78,000 for 1 injection machine. So we can build decent ones for $1,500. They're not that good, but they're.
And our cycle time on those is more like 5 to 7 minutes, where
part.
if you bought a $75,000 machine, we could make something every 10 seconds probably, but we're not at the high demand product either, so we don't need something like that. Not yet, at least.
Not yet. Thank you.
So basically, you're just waiting for a room so you can expand?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a room designated for it, and I know there's been a few problems here and there, but I think we're getting close, I think.
Well, be careful to stay close.
Okay, all
Keep in
right.
mind, construction is a real trick right now, but we're gonna make sure that, we're behind it and we're pushing forward to, I know that the goal is beginning of the school year. It will have to be a bid, once design specs are all put together, it will have to go through a bid process. So, and then it seems like a large job in perspective of what, maybe you would think about from construction and general contractors. That's actually a very small job. And so a lot of them pass on those smaller jobs lately. But and you get into things and, you just know what to expect to go. We're dealing with that with both of all three of our construction projects. We've got one that's wrapped up, the other two we're just inching along trying to get them done. So you never want to hang your hat on it, but it's going to get done. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're behind it. We're in a conversation with Nathan Priest and said, we're going to, whatever we bump into, we're going to make sure it happens. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I remember we had a meeting, I just said, hey, tell me how much it costs, and we'll raise it. So I got the quote of 87,000, so we got 90, and but yeah, we understand if there's bumps in the road, but yeah, these grants suck to write. If you guys are bored someday and want to write some grants, I mean, they write themselves, it's just like.
It just takes a lot of time.
It's just a
Right.
pain.
It's time consuming, and
Yes.
thank you for doing this. I mean, how long, or when did this start? What year?
I got here, yeah,
And it's
same year
probably-
these two did, so.
Probably didn't start right away that year.
Yeah, we waited
Got to
till
know
like-
each other a little bit. He's like, hey, does this
It's
look
just been the
cool?
last couple of years.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Okay,
Definitely.
all right. I just want to clarify that if anyone is listening and that's.
Covered a lot of ground in a few years.
We had some exponential growth going on,
Yeah.
so.
Right, right.
Cool.
So, thank you. And I guess the kids love it because they're doing it and learning and that's the main
And
thing.
we get a large variety of students, from tag students to, we have had involved Ms. Higgs's classroom with some sorting and things like that. So we go all different levels and all different backgrounds, and we let them come and go as they need to. So some kids we don't see as much throughout the year because they're in sports in 7th and 8th grade. But so we see a lot of participation in 6th grade because they don't have a lot to do. But then they come and go in 7th and 8th grade. And then we have one that comes back, well, at least half the time. He's a 9th grader this year, and he comes back and helps out quite a bit too. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming out.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get all your things? Oh, over there. Thank you guys for coming. Learned a lot. Yeah, that's one thing, is that you're welcome to leave. You do not have to stay.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks
thanks
for coming.
All right, that was interesting. Okay, now we'll go on to our discussion items. 7.01, administrator salaries for 2022-2023 school year.
So obviously, we've already brought the ratified agreement that we had with our teachers through the LCEA. And typically, we've always followed suit with that and applied that to other employee groups for the most part. There's really not much in the way of, there's no reason to have an exempt discussion regarding administrators, because we're just suggesting that we apply this across the board. It would be the same 3.02% that was applied to the teachers. And I've listed the administrators, and I hope that
Andrea's checked that twice, and Ann has checked that twice, and that I haven't left anybody off. I've checked it 4 or 5 times, and I've went back and forth. I think that's everyone, but those would be the administrators that it would impact, and again, it's the same 3.02% that was arrived at with the teacher negotiations.
And this would be as of July 1st, correct?
Yes, for the contract
next-
year beginning
next
July
school year.
1st, right.
Is there any discussion? All right. We'll go to 7.02, discussion regarding matters of employment conditions for employees not covered by a collective bargaining agreement. And we are allowed to do this per Iowa Code 21.9, refers to a meeting of governmental body to discuss strategy in matters relating to employment conditions of employees who are not covered by a collective bargaining agreement under Chapter 20. And through this exempt meeting, do we need to go into the other room, or do we, is this just,
We just make it an exempt session.
okay?
Just go into exempt session right now.
All right, so do we need to vote on that?
No vote
Nope.
needed.
So we are in exempt session,
But we do treat it as closed, yeah.
correct? So we need to turn off our mics? are back in open session, and we will go on to comments and suggestions. This is the second portion of our agenda that anyone can address the board in the audience, or do we have anyone listening? No comments, all right. We'll go to action items. 9.01, administrator salaries for 2022-2023 school year.
Madam Chairwoman,
Mr. Hendricks.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a 3.2% administrator's salary increase as presented.
3.02.
3.02, sorry.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Wylage?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffel?
Yes. 9.02, classified employee salaries for 2022-2023 school year.
Madam Chairwoman,
Mr. Hendricks.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a 3% increases for classified employees along with other special increases as discussed in the exempt session.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Wylage?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffel?
Yes. 9.03, late filed open enrollment request.
Madam Chairwoman,
Mr. Hendricks.
I'd like to make a motion to deny the open enroll request as presented in closed session.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. 9.04, employee request for other paid or unpaid leave.
Madam Chairwoman,
Mr. Hendricks.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the employee request that's presented in closed session.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. We do have a discussion item, 10.01, superintendent evaluation and review, and we are allowed, actually, would you like us to go into closed session to discuss your evaluation?
I would prefer that, and
All right.
I would also mention to you, just, well, there's only 4 of you here, if you don't feel you need to do this tonight, you definitely don't. Other places I've been, you usually don't get your final eval when you're leaving, so I appreciate that you want to take care of that,
Right.
but,
And we can do it, what do you want to do? I mean, I don't know if everyone's going to be here next time, or we could probably do it via email.
Gee, I was really looking forward to roasting you.
I know.
We can wait, it's up to you guys.
Whatever you want to do.
I mean, we're missing half the board.
Right, and then I've only gotten just a couple responses, so maybe what we could do is people can send any comments to me, and then we can get that together and do it maybe next time. So, we can just scratch that one off the agenda, or do we need to do anything?
no, just no action.
All right.
There's no action anyway,
Right.
so.
No.
So we'll do that. I'll send an email for the board members who aren't here tonight. Items of interest, future board meetings, our next regular meeting is May 16th. Anything else?
No, I don't
All
think so.
right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, you can stay.